work expands to the time you give it, right? So if you say, I have 2 weeks to get this done, it's going to take you 2 weeks to get it done. If, however, you say, I have 2 hours to get it done, you'll get it done in 2 hours.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Lifeonaire Show. I'm your host, Jason Wojo. On the Lifeonaire Show, we help people make more, work less, and live awesome lives. I am joined by my loyal, funny, international co-host, Polish Peter. Dude, I really...
Keep going.
I really built you up right there, man.
Don't stop.
I just felt like, Peter needs some positive affirmations today.
Okay, stop. Okay. Well, keep going. Stop. No.
Dude,
Listen.
We got an awesome episode today.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great episode. I think it's one of the most impactful episodes because some of us, when we were talking about business, you mentioned at one point during the episode of being a solopreneur. Yeah. And, if you have a business that's running, that you are the business, that everything's centered around you, this is the episode to listen because sometimes what hits the fan and then how you go about living life and how you go about supporting your family and things like that. And this particular lady, she is a rock star. And the story that she says, I mean, it blew my mind just listening to her share it.
Oh, yeah, man. So we're speaking with Jamie Gilleland, an amazing business owner, entrepreneur who went through a significant, not little, challenge with her health. And quite frankly, man, as she alluded to, she's still got some stuff going on, but the way her business runs now is completely different than the first time she did it. And so if you're somebody who wants to learn how to remove yourself from your business and how to think about business a little bit differently, she has a lot of overlap with what Lifeonaire teaches, a lot of similarities in our values and positions. And so you're going to love this episode. It's awesome. Let's go into it right now, man, with our episode of Jamie Gilleland. Hey, Jamie, welcome to the Lifeonaire Show.
Thank you. I'm so excited, Jason and Peter.
No, that's okay. You don't have to. It's just, he's there. He's not really much. He's just a fixture.
Thank you for the acknowledgement, Bojo. Yes.
There you go.
Jamie, I'm so excited to have you on the show because I went to your website and I was reading up on you and you just have an amazing story of basically overcoming something that's, it's a big deal, but you've learned from it, you've grown from it, you help other people now with this, and you really taken this and done something very impactful and powerful with it. So let's go back to 2007. Let's bring us back to that moment and start unpacking this, and let's tell our audience what that situation was.
Sure, absolutely. So, and it's funny you say overcoming. I recently asked a friend, what's different about me from other people you know? And two different people said, you've got grit and you've got stick-to-itiveness. You're like a freaking pit bull. You don't let go.
Awesome.
So, and that's become kind of the mantra of my life. So, life was good in 2006. I was building a real estate franchise concept. I lived in Hilton Head, South Carolina, had the nice house near the beach, had the fancy cars, had the mid-six-figure income. Life was sweet. January of 2007, I was driving down the road. I was taking my daughter and my neighbor's daughter to school, and somebody rear-ended me. They arrested the guy on the spot. I was his fourth accident in 3 days.
Wow.
Which at the time, I was just furious. All kinds of foul language came out of my mouth. What do you mean? You're not paying attention. Four accidents, whatever. I don't know how spiritual you or your believers are, but I truly believe the man was an angel on earth, because had he not hit me, we wouldn't, the rest of this story would be very, very different. Because of the accident, I went for an MRI for the whiplash. Because of the MRI, they sent me for the MRI. The doctor said, "Hey, you've got good insurance. Let's just do an MRI, make sure everything's okay. We'll call you in about a week. We'll let you know what's going on." Literally, as I was leaving the MRI place, I lived like 5 miles away. The phone rang and said, "The doctor wants to see you right away." I'm like, "What do you mean he wants to see me right away?" That should have been my first warning. That's never a good sign when they want to see you sooner than expected. So I go back. The nurse in the office I knew, and she handed me the report, and it said, da 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 da, has whiplash, da 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 da. So you kind of speed read. What I did was I ignored the fact that said massive brain tumor. So the doctor comes in and says, "I hate to tell you this, but you've got a massive brain tumor. It's pushing on your brain stem, and you have about 6 months to live."
Wow.
And I looked at him and said, "Excuse me, what are my options?" And he said, "Well, there is a surgery, but your chances of survival on it are less than 20%. We recommend you just get your life in order, enjoy your last 6 months." And when the tears stopped flowing and the visions of my children, who at the time my daughter was 10 and my twins were 6. The visions of them growing up without their mother and all the different pieces were just going through my head. It's like a movie that I was watching. And I looked at him and I said, "I want option C." And he looked at me kind of quizzically, like, there is, and he said, "Jane, those are the only 2 options. There is no option C." And I said, "Sure there is." We find the doctor, we do the surgery, I survive, and I get to see my kids grow up and get married. My son gets married next Saturday.
Wow.
So I've outlived those 6 months 34 times because I chose the hard road. I chose what was important to me. And it wasn't an easy road. I hit all kinds of things, one after another, after another, after another. But it was my choice. I didn't listen. And my husband at the time, my family, my friends said, you're crazy. The brain tumor is affecting your reasoning. Listen to the doctors, do what you want. Enjoy the 6 months. Don't jump in and do this surgery. I survived. I made it. My business, however, did not. Even though I literally had written the book on how the franchises were going to operate, we didn't have the systems in place for the corporate headquarters. And without me being there, our 34 staff members didn't have an answer to go to. Should I do this? Can I do this? Is this okay? Whatever it is. Because we didn't have the systems in place. So 6 months after the surgery, when my face was half paralyzed, I was going through all kinds of things. I went back to the office to find out. My partner said, "Jamie, we're closing the business." Didn't help. We didn't have the systems, and it was 2007. Real estate market crashed that year. So even though we had sold 3 franchises, we had won the Franchise Market Magazine's top 100 new franchise concepts. We had an IPO on Wall Street. All of that didn't matter when the systems weren't in place to support it. So that's when I got really passionate, almost fanatical about making sure that businesses have systems. They know and understand how the systems work so that you can take a vacation. You can deal with life emergencies. I mean, stuff happens. And we have to be able to deal with that stuff and still keep our business afloat. Now, fast forward to 2021. I started in March of 2021. I tried to stop a dog fight, which was not a smart idea. I got bit, broke this bone in my hand, ended up with a bacterial infection that landed me in the hospital for 4 days and 6 months of no using my left hand. Finally, and I'm, on the computer all day long. So I got real familiar with Siri, talk to text, and all kinds of stuff there. So 6 months after that, literally the day before my last physical therapy and doctor's appointment, I had just bought a brand new, beautiful sports car. People thought it was a Maserati all the time. It wasn't, but it was beautiful. Had it for 3 months, less than 3,000 miles on it, and somebody decided to make a left-hand turn in front of me when I was going 45 miles an hour and totaled my car. I don't know if you can see the scar there. Shattered my wrist. My right hand now became unusable for the next 6 months. So I literally had a year of not being able to use one hand or the other. Ended up, it was my best business year ever at that point. So the business sustained, the systems kept things going, my team kept things going, and I literally had stepped out of the business for almost a year and still had one of the best years ever. So
wow,
the systems, putting the right systems, the automation, and I have a small team. I only have 3 people on that company. So systems can really make a difference in what you're doing in your life and your business.
Wow. What a difference. What a stark contrast to the first time you experienced health issues to that. And so imagine a lot had to happen in there. And so let's kind of rewind back. You basically lost everything with your business back when you had the brain tumor. What did you do? Like how did you rebuild? Like what were the steps you took?
Well, remember Paul Harvey, the rest of the story?
Right.
Yeah. 6 months after the surgery, my first husband passed away unexpectedly. The business failed. My house was repossessed. My cars were repossessed. I literally stood in line to collect food stamps to feed my kids. Went from a mid 6-figure income to to collecting food stamps. The place where I lived in Hilton Head, there were no jobs that I could go get. I was overqualified for everything. So I started my site. My company then started it as a small web design company because of the loss of their father. I didn't want my kids to come home to somebody else, so I wanted to be there when they came home. So I started working locally, worked with a lot of realtors. I was in that space since I developed all the technology for the company that we had lost. So I did a lot of web designs, started building. And then as I got involved with them on a deeper basis, we started talking about systems. And slowly but surely, I became one of the sales and marketing automation one of the world's, I am one of the top in what I do with Keep, the software I work with. So now I work with speakers, authors, and coaches all around the world, names whose books you have on your bookshelf. I'm speaking on stages around the world. And life is a little different, but it was because step by step, every process that I created for my company or every process around what I was creating for my clients, we created the systems. We created the de facto, this is the procedure. This is how it works. This is the training video when somebody new comes on board. So you don't have to spend hours and hours training. Say, here, go to Loom. I've got all of these folders. These are what you watch. There's your training.
Mm. And so my guess is that here you are, you start again, start from scratch, and realize that there are other people that are also susceptible to the same thing you had, meaning like they could go through some sort of trauma or catastrophic event in their life, or maybe a loved one, and then they'd be victim to the same thing. But you also mentioned, before we started recording, it's like, and I think it's on your website as well. Like, well, what happens if you want to actually step away from your business or take a vacation, and you have a tagline for your business? Tell our listeners what that is.
Build your business around your life, not your life around your business. So many people, and it started when I was building mine. My kids would say, I'd be doing something, or the favorite jab at mom is, Mom, you'd be yelling at us 1 minute and the phone would ring and you, hi, this is Jamie, and have that phone voice. You would switch. And there were so many I can'ts because I have to work comments when they were young. And one day it hit me in the face and I went, no, that's not. I started this business so I could be home, so I could be there for them, not so I could be in the house and say, go away, shut the door, be quiet, Mom's on the phone. So it became something, for instance, I put in a hard work week. I do a lot of work, but work expands to the time you give it, right? So if you say, I have 2 weeks to get this done, it's going to take you 2 weeks to get it done. If, however, you say, I have 2 hours to get it done, you'll get it done in 2 hours. So having the mindset of getting things done in a certain amount of time, and having the mindset of these are the boundaries that that are important to me. I stop work at 5 o'clock. I work out 3 days a week, so don't bother scheduling calls with me between 9 and 11 because that's my workout time. Today, one of my things this year, and because of the 2 accidents in 2023, I've had a progressive tremor. So I'm dealing with some health issues now. And last year, I was working hard. I had a couple of coaching clients, speakers that had me doing coaching for their clients. And they were keeping me really, really busy. And I kind of stepped out of my boundaries for a little while and said, well, I'm helping them. I'll do this. I've got these boundaries. I just expanded them a little bit. And finally said at the beginning of this year, you know what? It's not worth it. So I walked away from 2 different $100,000 contracts and decided I'm going back to taking care of me and my health, doing what is important to me. Meanwhile, the business is still running. I have clients, I have staff that are handling the coaching pieces, but I'm not doing that. I'm taking 2 hours off this afternoon to go horseback riding because I want to, because it's something that calms me, that calms my tremors and is good for me. And just damn it, because I want to.
Right. Well, so I'm wondering, and as you're speaking here, there's such an overlap with our beliefs and our values in terms of what you do and what Lifeonaire does, where we also believe hey, let's make the important stuff, prioritized, and then, business can fill those gaps. I think most people do it the opposite way.
Exactly.
Why do you think so many business owners are in that unfortunate situation where their business really does rely on them exclusively to work?
Well, two things. One, I believe too many business owners find it hard. Well, two things. They find it hard to find good people to bring in and train. They also over and over say, it'll take me 3 hours to train this person to do it. I can do it in 10 minutes. I'll just do it. So they get into the, I can do it faster, quicker, easier, better, versus learning to delegate. So that's one. Second, I think there's a mindset, and I find this more in managers, but managers becomes entrepreneurs and they bring this mindset with them that they don't want to hire people better than them. They want to be the big dog in the arena, right? And one of the things I learned early on is I never want to be the smartest person in the room, because I am a giver and I want to give. But in order to keep pouring out, if you guys remember Stephen Covey, when he talked in 7 Habits, talked about the pitcher. If you keep pouring out the pitcher, eventually the pitcher is empty. You got to receive as well. So I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I want to hire people smarter than me because they're going to help build me up. You know, I'm still the top of the heap because I'm the CEO, I'm the founder, I'm the business owner, but they're elevating me even further because of the knowledge that they bring. So I think that's one of the problems that they have with staff.
Yep.
Now, the second or third problem, if we're counting, is too many business owners don't make their business runs their life because they're either not making enough money, they don't know how to close, they don't know how to sell properly, that they don't have the systems in place to elevate the clients to the point that they can close them quicker and easier. By the way, the tremor affects my voice sometimes too. So, but they are desperate. So they have to keep working. They have bills to pay. They have payroll to meet. They have bikes to buy for their kids. And they feel if they don't work, they can't do those things. Whereas I find it works better when I set my goals, when I set the intention of X number of dollars per month or per year, whatever it is, and I go about doing the actions that need to be done for those to be realized. I don't worry about the plan up front. Well, how am I going to do this? I just take massive action towards whatever the steps are that I need to do in the time that I allot. And I take massive rests, massive, Covey also talked about recreation as recreation. So that time off helps to re-energize you so that you can go at it full force for those 6 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, whatever it is you're working per day, and go at life full force the rest of the time.
Hey, we'll get right back into our interview, but before I do, I want to tell you about something that's incredibly awesome and amazing, and that is what I consider to be our freedom formula in Lifeonaire. Now, if you're a Lifeonaire, you've been following us for any period of time, you know we're all about helping you create a life and business you love. You need to have both, right? You can't just have a great life and your business isn't making you any money, because that's gonna stink. And you can't have a business that completely takes up all of your free time and you're stressed out and running around with your hair on fire, because then you're not gonna have the life you want, right? And so you need to have both of these, and that's why we have 2 events. We do these all over the country. We do a handful per year. Peter and I teach these personally. And this is the Get a Life Getaway and the Business Builder Workshop. So if you don't have the life you want, you need to put together your vision and your plan for what your blueprint for the ideal life you want to live in every single area, and reverse engineer the exact steps to make that a reality. Get to the Get a Life Getaway. If business is your challenge right now and you need to go there first, totally cool. We totally get that. And so come to our Business Builder Workshop, because we teach you how to run a real business, not one that requires you to do everything in it and wear all the hats and have you running around with your hair on fire constantly. Like, that's not a business, that's a job. And it's a bad job because you got a bad boss and you're the bad boss. And so let's get you out of that role. Let's help you create a business you love that works without you. So you have time for the vacations, you have time for life's curveballs, you have time to do all the things you want to do, and the finances to support that and finance it. So go to lifeonaire.com right now. We also have a very special offer on both of these events, and I can't tell you how long it's going to last because I don't know. Peter, tell them about the special promo we've set up.
So here is the special promo we got for you. Because you're a loyal listener to us, you listen to the podcast, you endure the listening to both of us here every single week, we have a special 50% off coupon. That's 50, half of it off. So when you go to lifeonaire.com, click on the tab up at the top of the page called Events. Pick the event that you want to go to. At the checkout page, there is an area called the promo code. Type in the word podcast, PODCAST. That's my English language. I think I got this right. Podcast, right?
Yeah.
Hit apply, and you're going to instantly get 50% off your ticket price. Come to the event, introduce yourself to us. We're going to be there. Tell us you found us on the podcast. You got it from here. We love meeting the listeners from the podcast. And let's help you create the life that you want and your business that you love.
Let's do it. We'll see you guys at an event soon. Put this on the calendar. This will change your life. This will change your business. Let's get back to our podcast episode right now. You know, that makes a lot of sense. And just kind of rewinding for a second where you started talking about delegation, that is something that we hear a lot of. It's like, I can do it better myself. It's quicker myself. You can't find good people. No one's trustworthy. No one wants to, all of it.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you've learned? I'm curious. Is there anything you've learned over the years in terms of that process that could help, like a practical tip or a technique that people, or a strategy even, in regards to hiring people? Like, have you found ways to screen for the best people, or where you find them, or traits that you're looking for, like that our listeners can start to kind of look for to shortcut their learning curve to bringing the right people on board of their company?
Sure. The one big piece of advice up front, and unfortunately, I think we women fall into it more than men, is wanting to fix someone. Oh, I like this person. I can train them. I can fix them. I can, whatever. This is not a motherly position to be in. You want to find people that have the basic skill set or the basic desire to learn the skill set. I have no problem hiring somebody that doesn't have skills yet, but is eager and ready to learn. Not that I want to fix them. I want to train them and make them mine. Most of my people that I'm hiring are either trainers, technical. So they're either coaches or they're technician type technical people. I use a lot of the digital boards, job boards out there. Now, my one tip in that, when you put a job out, automatically you get 20, 30 responses right away. And you're like, wow, I got 20, 30 responses. One thing I've learned is there are people that literally respond to everything. They don't read the description. So one of the tips that I figured out a long time ago, when I list my posting in the middle of not at the beginning, not at the end, but somewhere in the middle, I'll put a line that says, when you respond to this, put the words pink elephant in the subject line, or whatever crazy set of words you want. And if the subject line does not include pink elephant, I don't even look at the posting.
Yeah. That's great. See if they pay attention. If they really want the position.
Exactly. Are they paying attention, and can they follow directions?
Right.
So that's test one.
I love that. You have more? Or is that what you want to? That's
Oh no,
gold.
that's probably the biggest one.
So where do you fall on this continuum? I've heard people say that it seems like there's two camps here, where some people are like, hey, you hire for passion and you hire for, attitude. And then other people are like, no, you hire on skills and experience. Like, where do you fall on that continuum?
My ideal candidate is both.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. So if I can't find the ideal candidate, I go more for passion and attitude because my business is coaching and training. I can train a monkey to do most things. So if they've got the passion and the attitude, then I can make them the best employee ever. Sometimes when they come in with the skill set, and even if they have the skill set, here's another quick story. After I started getting involved with sales and marketing automation, I literally 12x'd my company from 2014, November of 2014, I made $60,000 in the year, that year. Still pretty much on my own, doing my own thing. Started building the business, started throwing bodies at it. Web designers, right? They know how to design. I was hiring a skill set. I just said, here we go. And I threw jobs at them. By November of 2015, 12 months later, I was closing $60,000 a month. So I literally 12x'd my company. I had thrown about 20 bodies at the problem. The problem was they knew how to do websites. They didn't have my touch. They weren't doing the way I would do it. And I had not outlined the specific steps that I wanted them to take. So they were doing the job. They just weren't doing it the way I wanted it done. I literally imploded at that point. I fired everyone. I went back, talked to all the clients and said, you've got this, but I'm going to make it better. So here's my deal. I literally shut stuff down for almost a year. I did sales outside for somebody else. So that was where my income was coming, and I was fixing all the problems. Now, the goodwill I built with my clients was amazing, and they refer multiple people. And then I started hiring again and realized how to hire properly and how to train them. So the skill set didn't do me any good because it didn't correlate to the way I wanted it done. So the passion and the attitude is more important for me.
Have you ever used like a headhunter, or have you always just used direct to the hire? Like, I don't know if you use Indeed.com or any of the sites directly. Like where have you found the most success? I
have found the most success, and it totally just left my mind, with on-site boards. And my last hire was about a year ago. My team is handling everything pretty well these days.
Got it.
So I haven't had to do it recently.
Okay. Do you, how about if someone wants to let's say it's a solopreneur, it's someone they're doing everything in their business. What should that first hire be? And is there a one size fits all recommendation? Like, oh, you need a salesperson, or oh no, you need an admin person. Oh no, you need somebody to, like, how do you start to identify those first few steps if you're a business owner that's completely new to this? Like which position should you fill first?
So the first thing I have clients do when they're looking at solopreneurs, individuals, is I have a lead magnet I call my activity tracker. And I have them literally track everything they do in a day. So I have them set a timer on their phone every 15 minutes, write down what they did the last 15 minutes during their day. And I have them track that for 2 weeks. And in the tracker, it's what's the activity, whose role would that activity be if you had a full org chart? Would it be the social media person? Would it be the accountant? Would it be the janitor? Whose role would that be? So I have them track that. And then I have them track, is this income producing or fulfillment? So that we know what side of the black and red it falls on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So once we track that, we start looking at how many of the things that you're doing are social media. Is that something you can hire a VA or somebody for? How many are this? So where do those fall in? And how can we do? Most of the time, I believe, and I've been involved in sales for many, many years. I tease that I've always been competitive. Even when I was a Girl Scout, I was the #1 cookie seller, right? Way back when.
You're responsible for a lot of extra pounds. That was what I'm hearing.
I was. So, and I sold computers back in the day, and I sold, I've always been one of those people that has been good at creating relationships. And that's what sales is all about. I firmly believe that a business owner has to know and understand and take responsibility for the income being generated until they get to the point where all of the fulfillment is handled, and then they can hand off the sales. Right? So sales is one of the latter things, unless they just, excuse my French, really suck at it. And then they need to hire somebody that's a good salesperson to start and help build the process. And they need to do it together. So because sales is the relationship, it's knowing and understanding who, what, how, when, what the whole process is. And if they don't understand it, the sale will never happen. And only the CEO, the founder, the solopreneur can answer all of those questions up front. So it's a joint call until the salesperson really knows and understands all those answers. And then the salesperson can start going on their own.
Well, I love what you just shared here, because you just kind of laid out like a process for the solopreneur to actually go and start taking steps to, okay, this is what I should do first and second, third, and fourth. And the time tracking thing, I think that's gold. So if somebody's listening to this podcast, I would totally just do that for the next 2 weeks to see how you actually operate, because most of the time, I think we're not even present to the fact that what we do throughout the day. We're getting close to the end of that podcast. So I want to ask this question because I don't want to overlook it. Since 2007, you've had some challenges that most people can't even comprehend going through. And that's at the same time, you've become very successful and you're impacting lives around it because you're speaking around the country and the world and helping people out. If someone's going through something tough in their life, whether it's health or whatever it might be, what would you say to them? Because what keeps you going, and what would you say to them when they're going through something tough?
Sure, absolutely. One of the things, and I learned this from Grant Cardone, one of the things I do every single day is I write my goals in a already achieved form. I want to be a multi-billionaire, right? I want to be healthy, fit, and less than 125 pounds. Whatever those goals are, I write them in the morning and I write them in the evening. And when I have something that throws me down, a failure, something that doesn't go exactly as I want, I write my goals down again, because I'm living in the present and I'm living in the future as if it were the present, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So I'm focused on the long game. I'm not focused on what happened today. Whatever the issue, problem, challenge is today, this is where I want to go past it. So it's that grit, that stick-to-itiveness and pit bull type mentality that's what's important. And that's where I'm headed. This little thing today, tomorrow, I may not remember whatever this little thing was, or it may not have an effect on me. But the actions I take to overcome it will have a massive effect on what I do.
I love that. So I got a quick question for you, just out of my curiosity. How do you respond when somebody tells you you can't do this?
I can't. I don't use the words I can't. I change everything from I can't to how can I.
I love that. Yep, that's a great way. Because I can see you like, okay, you're telling me I can't? I'll show you. That's how I see you in this particular episode of having conversation.
Actually, my first husband years ago told me I could have a fish pond. By the end of the day, I had a fish pond that I built myself. So when somebody says I can't to me, you're right, Peter. I take it as a challenge, and I turn around and show them, and I do it in the highest, fastest speed possible because they annoyed me. There's another word I was going to use. They annoyed the crap out of me, so I'm going to show them how.
Awesome.
That's amazing. Jamie, you are an inspiration. You're a light for people that have either, gone through something and feel like giving up, but they realize through your story that there's something on the other side of that. Or maybe, even knowing about what you've overcome is inspiring to people who maybe at some point in their life will experience something similar. How do people learn more about you? Where do they find you and what you're up to?
Sure. I'm Jamie Gilleland on Facebook. We also just started the Jamie G brand, so you can find that out there. And Jamie at my site, misyte.com is my email. I'm happy to spend 15 minutes with anybody who wants to figure out what their option C is, what their ways of building and growing and scaling. So you can go to meetwithjamieg.com and schedule 15 minutes, and we will happily chat and see what I can do to help elevate and enhance what you're doing in your life.
Amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on the Lifeonaire show.
Thank you. This has been fabulous. Fun talking with you both.
Man, what an impactful interview, man. Like, she reminds me a lot, we've talked with her about, we have a mutual friend, Russ, who had brain cancer and had similar things. And he's struggling now. And here's Jamie, who took this situation and really realized she has to create a business that does not require her. Right. And I love her tagline, which by the way is very Lifeonaire-esque, which is, create a business around your life, not a life around your business, which was awesome.
Yeah, so that's such an impactful story, and that's who popped into my head too, Russ too, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've gotten out of this episode, at the beginning, she said, when she sat down with the doctors and he says, listen, you got two options. Option one is you do a surgery, which you have less than 20% chance of survival. Option two is you got 6 months to live, enjoy it, go and live it, And what hit me is the exercise that we do at the 3-day Gilleland getaway, because we don't go 6 months, we go 3 months. And here's what I love about her, and I think this is how she approaches life a lot, is she goes, well, what's option number 3?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us get stopped and say, okay, these are my two options, and that's it. But she goes, what's option number 3?
Yeah, what's option C? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, dude, and it's so revealing that she said that, because that's her attitude about life. Like, she's not just going to take, hey, this is the way it goes. These are my options, and that's it. She's like, even the way she approaches business is like, well, I'm even if other people are doing it a different way, I'm not going to go that route. I'm not going to have my life consumed by my business, and I'm going to figure out a way to make sure I can remove myself from it.
Yeah, it's like, bring it, Yeah. And and I love what she, talked about later on as, solopreneur. How you go about doing this. You finally asked a good question, I think, on this podcast, Bojo.
Aha, I knew I could eventually.
One of those, this is what, 100 some episodes in, right?
Dude, hey, slow and steady wins the race, my friend.
Right. Well, you are slow. Yeah, that's a whole different conversation. All right. But here's the thing. she laid out a little process of that 2-week tracking sheet.
Dude, yes.
That I think will be very impactful for anybody listening to this. Man, take it on as you're listening to this podcast. Go and implement this. You'll be shocked of what you are doing throughout the days, I think.
So, dude, that was a really good nugget she dropped. And we do something similar at the Business Builder Workshop. The way we do it is a little bit different. We don't do kind of like, is it income generating directly, or is it which side of that of your profit and loss is it on, at the top or the bottom? We kind of do it like, hey, what's the hourly wage of what you could hire somebody to do this for? But I love her approach. And regardless of which one you take, I think it's super revealing when you see where you're spending your time. Like, most of us are incredibly inefficient. We're ineffective. We're not doing the things that need to get done in our business. We're spending way more time on the things that are the minutia and aren't leading to the ultimate results we're looking for. So I thought that was a great suggestion. The other thing I thought that was great too, man, is she talked about like, how and by the way, this is verification of some of the things that Lifeonaire does with hiring people as well. Like, include hoops in your hiring process. So you're getting people that are paying attention. Ours, I think we said, like, put a little smiley face, and we say, like, send us your resume and this cover letter answering these specific questions in PDF format. And if they send a Word doc, bang, you're already you're in the trash. We're not reading it. And so as you're hiring people, that's important. I think most people have a problem. I think a lot of people are cool with the idea of automation, like in terms of technology, more so than they are hiring people. Because hiring people, man, that scares some people. But you're not going to have a business without people to some extent, whether it's a VA, whether it's an employee, whether it's contractors, whether it's consultants, whatever. And so you got to wrap your mind around that. I also liked she talked about, hey, who should I hire first, right? Who do I bring on board first? I thought that was powerful.
Yeah. And then one last thing that I've gotten out of this is that she mentioned that some business solopreneurs or managers, they come out there, they feel like they have to be the smartest person in the room. And that's one of the big things that's stopping them from actually hiring somebody who is smarter than them. Yeah. And I think once you let go of that kind of an expectation that you have set for yourself, you can start to align yourself with people who are a team, and you basically create a team in your business that's an A team. And what if you're a B and they're A's? I have more power to that. I think that's freaking awesome. Dude, and you'll be able to go and create an impactful business that's going to run without you, Man,
I talk about this all the time, where I've always been the, and I know you're going to say something, but like that, I've always been kind of the tail end of that group, and I've benefited tremendously from it. And that's cool. I'm okay. I'm not too proud to admit that. And it's an incredible hack for success, is to be around people that are doing what you want to do, who are smarter than you, who are aligned, who have skills that you don't have. Because I think that's really powerful, because none of us can be great at everything. And even if, let's say you were the best at every single thing you did, let's play that imaginary game right now. You still don't have time to do it all. It doesn't matter. Right. You still don't have the time to do it all. So you still have to find other people. And so like that was an awesome tip, man. Really, really enjoyed this episode. I love talking with Jamie, and it really brought it down to like a real life. We talk about like creating a business around your life all the time. But when you hear a story like hers and what she went through in car accidents and all these things, and and the Parkinson's like symptoms that she's experiencing now, it makes it real. This is real. I think it's so often the case where people will hypothesize like, oh yeah, like, yeah, that I want a business. But like when it actually happens, trust me, you want to be in that situation where your business doesn't require you to run it. When you're trying to figure out how to pay your bills and put food on the table for your family, and you got medical expenses, or even if you just want to take a vacation because you're about to burn out and because you've been working too hard, you need to have a business that runs without you. And so that's super important, man.
I agree.
So hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please leave us a review, leave us a rating, give us a thumbs up, share this, tell someone about it. Through you in collaboration together as partners, we are helping change the world, one listener at a time. Have a great one. We'll see you next time, everyone. Take care.